first week of the device, I did have an AFib event, but instead of it being chaotic at maybe 165 beats a minute, it went down to 134. And instead of lasting for the, 7, 8, 9, 10 hours, it lasted for 4 hours. The fact that I've seen improvement in it for at least, 5 out of the 6 events that I've had encourages me a lot that in time I'm just not going to have it. It's going to go away.
Hey, Elspeth, thanks so much for coming to spend some time with me today.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. It's nice to have a face-to-face conversation with you, Tracy, because I've heard your voice and seen your face through LWS for almost 2 years.
Aw, that's so cool. I know it's kind of fun having us together, and then Ron showing his face on video.
That's right. Yeah, I think that's helped a lot, listening to Ron on QHS as much as listening to him on Love One Society. So it's been good.
Oh,
yeah.
Good. Well, I'm excited to hear your story. Can you start off by telling us a little bit about how you were feeling prior to coming to QHS?
I have a lot of things going on health-wise that are quite serious. I'm not quite sure where to start, and there's some things I'll leave out because I'll come to talk about them when I talk about what the device has been finding to repair, which have been quite interesting along the way. But the reason I left Hawaii 5 years ago was I had a cardiologist here for many years, and he sent me for a calcium test, which tests how much calcium you have in your coronary arteries. And he did it to just do a baseline for me, expecting it to really not amount to much. And if you have a score of over 400 in the calcium test, it's quite bad. If it's over 1,000, you get your will in place. I had a score of 1,600. And my cardiologist was as astounded as I was, because I've taken care of myself really for a long time, and was astounded to know that I had a really serious calcification of my arteries. So he more or less told me that if I didn't really change my life and my exercise levels, I probably wasn't going to be around for much longer. I mean, he really pronounced a white coat death sentence at the time. And we had our own business here, and it was a bit of a challenge because of this arriving. And we decided that we would sell our business because I didn't want to continue because of that. And I had other issues as well, but finding that out wasn't good. I also had partially blocked arteries 12 years ago, which I had sorted. I had an enlarged heart that they told me I had hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, but I worked hard at getting, my heart went back to a normal size. I did not have hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. So you could have knocked me down to find out I now had severely calcified arteries. So we decided it was time that we should leave Hawaii, because not to have a business and to retire in Hawaii is a very expensive place to live. So we decided we would go back to Scotland, where we probably would have a much better standard of living. So we did that. Because I didn't think I was going to be on this earth for much longer, we took a cruise back from Sydney to Southampton. It took 2 months to get there. I was actually really ill on the cruise for 6 weeks. So that was the start of probably the next part of the journey. And just kind of trundled along trying to take care of myself. But I started having palpitations probably for 20 odd years, but I started having suspected afibrillation events that were not palpitations. So we kind of figured out, I came to see the cardiologist when we revisited 4 years ago, and he suggested that my hypothyroid tablets were maybe causing the AFib. So we changed that. But then when we left here on the plane ride back to Scotland, the first plane ride from Honolulu to San Francisco, the minute the wheels took off from the runway, I went into my first serious AFib attack that I really didn't know what was happening to me. And I thought I was going to not get off that plane. It went on for the whole 5 hours plus the 2 hours till, we got on the next plane. And over the next 6 months, I was diagnosed with a fibrillation and quite chaotic. I would be sitting, you couldn't plan when it was going to happen. I'd be sitting with a normal heartbeat of like 60, 63 beats a minute, and within 20 seconds, it had elevated to about 170. Chaotic heartbeats, not just a fast heartbeat like you get when you exercise, but chaotic. You couldn't keep track of what was going on with this heartbeat. And from that point, almost 4 years ago now, I've been having AFib events every 10 days to 2 weeks, and they last 5 to 10 hours at time at that really high heartbeat. And I really can't do much. I just need to go and lie down. I'm supposed to go to the ER every time I get one because there's a high risk of stroke or heart attack. And so, of course, COVID happened in the middle of all this, and I thought, I'm not going to the ER every 2 weeks I have one of these events. I'm just not going to the ER. So I kind of learned how to meditate around that time and decided that the worst thing that was part of it was the fear aspect. You didn't know what was going to happen to you. You didn't know how it was going to pan out. And I learned how to kind of get on top of the fear and stayed at home. And I've been to ER a few times, but really I haven't been for a year and a half. I've managed to cope with how they unfold, but they're still serious nonetheless. They just know that I'm coping with them at home, but I know at what level I need to go to the hospital. If it stays high for, maybe more than 10 hours, I would go. So that was really the worst thing that I've had, plus 2 very disabling shoulders. I had rotator cuff injuries and bursitis in both my shoulders that have healed and gone for the last 5 years. I just think I'm getting one healed up, and then the opposing one starts, and they kind of last 9 months at a time with physiotherapy before I get rid of the pain from them. And I've had high blood pressure really for the last 25 years. So I would say that's the kind of main thing that's been going on. And
that's a lot.
it's a lot, and it affected my life greatly. I felt that my life has shrunk as a result of it, because I kind of know when they're due to come. Every 10 days, 2 weeks, you need to be close to home. If you're out and about and it happens, it's not very good. So, we stopped going out too much, and my ability to walk very far, maybe a mile tops, quite slow walking. So it did affect my life a lot. And before I came to LWS, I knew about all the RV and the humanitarian work, and I really felt that I was supposed to do it. And I thought, there's no way in the world with what I've got can I, manage half a day's work, never mind a whole day's work. So I kind of kept putting it in the back burner. And then I got up one morning and said, if there's going to be med beds around, I'm going to be fixed, and I'm not going to look at it. Even though it's disabling just now, I'm not looking at it, that it's going to affect me for the future. And I just kind of changed my mindset. And in May this year, we were allowed to travel again to Hawaii. We chose not to take the medicine for COVID. So we weren't allowed to come here. So in May, I thought, everything will have happened by the time we travel in November. I'll have had, the med beds or whatever, and I'll be fine. Because, the thought of getting on an airplane, it takes 24 hours to come here. And the thought of doing that and having another one of these events while flying was not a good thought. So I started thinking positively, and that I'll be fine. And as the time's drawing near, it became obvious there was no RV happening, no med beds happening. And I knew about the QHS device through Ron for the first time in April. But we were saving for our holidays, and I thought, I just can't. And I wanted John, my husband, to have one too, because he has memory issues, which can be a bit challenging. So I wanted it for both of us, and I'm thinking, another $1,000, including postage plus everything else. So for 3 months, we changed our diet. We ate soup for a while. I managed to save money from my shopping to buy one of the devices, and we took the money for the other device out our saving. So we came in the middle of July when we prepaid and paid in August. And I thought, I didn't know about all the issues in delivery and everything at that time. And I thought, well, I hope it's going to arrive before I make this flight. And then I realized it probably wasn't going to arrive. And I started thinking, oh no, how am I going to do this? How am I going to manage? And I just kind of left it out there. And then Cynthia offered the urgent list. And I thought, well, I have a life-threatening event every 2 weeks in my life. I don't actually know how it's going to turn out. I would really like to be on the urgent list. So bless Cynthia and everybody at QHS. We got our devices, I think, on the 6th of October. So we've had them for, this is our 8th week that we're going into. So, and we really,
Sorry about that. What did you notice?
the first couple of days, not a lot, but we totally embraced it. We knew it was going to help us. We had no doubt whatsoever that things were going to happen. We just didn't know what. And I would say the third day, the both of us at the same time woke up feeling like, we had so much energy, we didn't know what to do with it. Like, I haven't had energy like that for, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 years. And for the first, and clarity of mind, my mind started to be quite clear. And I could almost feel the clarity, not only in this part of my head, but extending out into my aura. It was the strangest feeling. It was like an extension was going on between, this part of my forehead, and it was going out. And I thought, gosh, you can't even wrap this up as a present. This is like an amazing feeling. And John was feeling the same. And his brain was becoming more focused, but he was still forgetful. So that there was good evidence that it's working on him, but there's still a little bit to go. But anyway, we started waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and we were only sleeping for 2 hours at a time, like 2 hours, waking up for an hour, 2 hours. Then it was time to get up because we had so much energy. And I thought, well, this is not going to last very long, hardly sleeping any. But, we had so much energy, we never missed the fact that we weren't getting the sleep that we needed. So we thought, right, we're going to embrace this. All this energy started maybe about 3 weeks before we left to come to Hawaii. And I was helping out, both of us helping out a friend who hadn't been well, busy getting ready. So we were really busy and active. I couldn't have done what we did without what that device gave us during that few weeks. And my shoulder, the left one, was really painful. I was in the middle of physical therapy, and the pain went away on that one probably within a week of the device. However, it showed up in the other one about 3 weeks later, but I'll talk about that later. So the energy came, the shoulder got better. We managed to get all the planning done for the flight. We decided to send our luggage ahead of us. So we just had carry-on luggage, and we stayed overnight in Newark to split the flight. So we got here, no problem. Nothing happened on the flights. I was perfectly fine. And I would say within the first week of the device, I did have an AFib event, but instead of it being chaotic at maybe 165 beats a minute, it went down to 134. And instead of lasting for the 7, 8, 9, 10 hours, it lasted for 4 hours. So at that level, I could cope with it not too badly. It was manageable. And before we came here, I had another 3 AFib events, and they were quite similar duration and an improvement. So that was a good thing. So we arrived here, and of course, there's a 10-hour time difference between Hawaii and Scotland. It's a big jet lag deal normally, you know. It took us a while to get the sleep rhythm going to the right time of the day. But, you know, we were waking up in the morning and we still had all this energy. We didn't actually know what to do with the energy. And we had no jet lag whatsoever. We just had displacement of time, I would say, that we weren't hitting the right time of day. So we decided, okay, now we've been gifted this energy, we better try and use it. So we started to walk. And I would say that we took a few days to recover, and then we started walking. Do you know the first day we walked 4 miles?
What?
4 miles. We did it in 2 separate occasions, once in the morning and once in the afternoon. And this is us been here 4 weeks now. So for 2.5 weeks, we were walking 4 to 5 miles a day, splitting it between morning and afternoon, and still having energy. When we were done, we weren't coming in and flopping in bed and falling asleep. We were just, you know, I'm the kind of head chef here while I'm here because my grandkids love me to cook. You know, before, I'll just digress a bit, they were so excited that Gran was coming because Gran's the best chef in the world. And like 3 months before the device came, I'm thinking, how the heck am I ever going to be cooking for 6 people? You know, 4 of them and 2 of us every night, and Gran make pancakes for breakfast on the weekend. And, you know, I'm getting, oh, yeah, sure, Gran will be up to that, thinking, you know, how am I actually going to achieve this? But, you know, I have done the chefing. John has done the sous chefing. He prepares all, you know, all the vegetables and whatever, he helps out. And we've managed that in a heartbeat, no problems at all. Plus our 4 to 5 miles a day. So that has been the significant difference. But there was also other really nice things that happened in the first 10 days, I would say. For probably 2 years now, I can't get down on the floor without planning how I'm going to slide down the bed, get down there, and how I'm going to get back up off the floor again. It's a very difficult thing for me to do. And one of the physio exercises was lying flat on my back, you know, stretching my hands behind my head. And I thought, oh, for goodness sake, I can't do that exercise because I'll never get back off. I'll never get back off the ground. So about 10 days into the device, I'm doing the other exercises I need to do for my shoulder. And somewhere in my heart, I knew that I would get down on the floor and that I could do it. So I got down on the floor, no sliding down the end of the bed. And I managed to get down, no problem whatsoever, not wobbly. And I got down, I did the exercise, no problem. And I thought, you know, I'm going to be able to get up off the floor. And I did. I got up off the floor without the normal way that I do, which takes ages. I literally was up off that floor in less than 30 seconds. And I thought, that's the device. There's nothing else for it that's allowed me to do it. And then I realized one day, you know, you can run up these stairs in the house, because I haven't run upstairs. I can't do it for a start. My body's forgotten how to get into the motion of running up the stairs, you know, just how it has gone over the last few years. I ran up the stairs. I can run upstairs now, no problem. The AFib is still happening. I've had 2 events since I came here, but they were okay. They were the normal kind. And then last week we both caught the cold, or it's a detox, or it's something that the both of us have, and we were coughing and runny nose, the whole 9 yards on Saturday. And did I not start AFib on Saturday night while I was feeling this way with the cold, and it was back to the really bad one, you know, the chaotic high heart rate. And then while that had just started an hour, and then I have this other weird thing that I get maybe once or twice a year. And it's I'm not going to do too much information, but it's a vasovagal reaction that I get in my brain is, you know, something tells my brain that I need to go to the toilet and literally empty my, you know, that part of my body. But while that is happening, I'm breaking out in a sweat and I want to faint. So it's like, you know, I do what I need to do in the bathroom, then I need to go lie down flat or I'm going to pass out. And meanwhile, you know, the sweat's going everywhere. I've got AFib at 164. I'm blowing my nose and I'm coughing. And I think, what's this device? Why did you choose to sort them all on the same day? You know, it was, I couldn't actually understand what was happening. But anyway, that went on for about 6 hours. And in the morning, I still had the cold and the cough, but I was fine after the AFib and I just went back to normal again. And Sunday we took time out, and Monday we were out walking 2.5 miles, you know. And
If you were herxing, you know, maybe you were herxing that day because
I think,
cold
yeah,
detoxifies and,
yeah.
you know, maybe.
You know, I've not had that event, the vasovagal event. I've not had one of them for almost a year. So for that all to be happening and unfolding on the same night was like the perfect storm was happening. And, you know, and John, he kind of forgets how they go. And every time I have them, he thinks I need to go to the hospital. So you know, and he's very good at helping me. But I need to explain, you know, I know how this goes. We'll just wait it out. I know it's not very pleasant to watch and witness, but I know that it'll, you know, after a while it'll correct itself and we'll be good to go, you know. So anyway, still a little bit effect from the cold, but the cough's almost gone. And I'm back. Yesterday I walked 3.5 miles.
Good for you. That's a lot, Elspeth. I'm so
I
happy to
know.
hear improving
I
like that.
know.
And it's only been 2 months. It's going to continue.
I know, and I know the AFib is not healing right away, but it is, you know, it's a serious issue that I've got. So, you know, the fact that I've seen improvement in it for at least, you know, 5 out of the 6 events that I've had encourages me a lot. That in time I'm just not going to have it. It's going to go away, and I'm encouraged because that's really my main health concern, and I feel I shouldn't be able to do that walking so energetically unless my arteries are clearing and my blood is clearing, because, you know, it's that heaviness in the arteries that made it difficult for me to walk. And I'm not having any feeling of this walking being difficult. And it's hot here. I mean, we're still at 27, 28 degrees, although we have a little, you know, breeze going at this time of the year. But it's amazing that I'm actually able to do this walking with the things that I have. And I'm just so encouraged by it. And, you know, I have had other herxing things that I know that it's working on. About 20 years ago, I was so stressed in my life and my job that I clenched my teeth so much that I expelled the cartilage from my jaw. And I needed surgery to stitch it back in again. And I couldn't open my mouth for almost a year. I had to relearn how to open my mouth after the surgery. I had 5 years of dental work to correct the bite because my bite was skewed after the surgery. But over the years, it hasn't, you know, I used to get serious TMJ, but over maybe the last 10 years, it hasn't bothered me at all. It's, you know, it's fine. And that was the last thing that I thought in my list needed done. And it was one of the first things it went for. It had TMJ like all over my face. And I thought, you know, why are you choosing that to go heal them? You know, I don't need that one just yet. Go work on something else. But it lasted like 24 hours and left. So I'm sure it found that area and was working on it. I've got two titanium big toe joints that I got 12 years ago from arthritis, bone and bone arthritis. And I've been walking great for 12 years, no trouble with them whatsoever. And one day they started. I started to feel the pain down there as well. So I know it's gone down and looked for that as well. So there's no doubt that it's kind of rooting around my body, deciding what it's going to go and do next. And it's just an interesting journey, and it doesn't do things in accordance with the way that you would like it to be done, obviously, or that wouldn't happen on Saturday night. But it's interesting that it's got its own thing that it's working on, and I'll use it it's on all day long. I don't take a break from it. It goes under the pillow at night time, and I've been able to do that. I would say before we got the cold, we had managed to get into a really good sleep routine, and we were easily sleeping 8 hours a night. So I'm back to, the last few days that's been challenging again because the energy's kicking back in, and I feel I'm almost going back through what I went through in the first week with the energy, because it totally drained out that energy in a day with what went on at the weekend. But it's been building it back up again. And I had said, last week to John, it's a good thing to remember when that energy kicks in, and it's such a wonderful, awesome feeling that you don't notice it after a few days because you get used to the extra energy. So when that happens, really treasure it for what it is, because you'll get used to it and you'll have that energy. It doesn't go away, but you lose that really initial feeling that you have when it goes whoosh and it arrives and you're clear. And we've had a lot of peace, quite peaceful in our minds as well. But I just feel we take things for granted, and I realize we take things for granted because that first week when we were feeling that, we'd get up in the morning and we'd share notes. How are you feeling this morning? And we were so excited because we didn't remember ever feeling this way for years. And then as time went on, the energy's there and you accept it, you use it. But that real feeling of joy that you get when it rushes in kind of goes to normality after a little while. So I just really like to say to people, enjoy that moment when you get it, because you'll get used to it and you won't realize it's such a blessing because you have it all the time. We just get used to things. So
Right.
so
That's
that's
And then someday you're going to have, after the Q arc, when you're doing your,
yeah,
do-over, you're going to even have more energy and a
I
healthy
know
30-year-old
what we're
body.
going to that's just going to be amazing. And I have to say, when I found LWS almost 2 years ago, I wasn't. I have no idea how I found Ron to this day. I just ended up in that webpage, and I knew it was my calling. I just knew that I would do it. Somehow the health would get figured out, and I would be able to do it. And for the first time in that 2 years, this past few weeks is the first time I could honestly say I could do a day's work at the moment. I have not been able to anywhere say that. I mean, I'm 69 years old, so I'm kind of getting on up there. And I can honestly say I could do, just with the device has changed my energy levels so dramatically that I'm confident that I could do what I need to do now just with the device taking care of it. But can't wait for the QR, why not?
Right. And then you're going to definitely be able to run
Yeah.
circles around your former self. What
Yeah.
excites you about that? What are you going to do for you?
Well, I think the thing, I obviously have projects that I want to do and all sorts of things in both Hawaii and in Scotland. I've got like a foot in both camps for that. Maybe not a CAC in Hawaii, but there's definitely projects I want to do here. But the CAC and everything I'm going to do in Scotland. So that aside, I I was a single parent in my life for 10 years, and my working life was done to achieve stability for myself and my daughter. And I ended up with very serious, you know, blue chip company sales manager type jobs that were extremely stressful. I hated them. I didn't like them, but they paid the bills. They were not my passion. Although through that, I was a very good manager. I mentored people, so there was gifts that I found as part of that that had nothing to do with sales, but which I enjoyed doing. And and in Hawaii, we managed our own business for 8 years. So I know I have all the skills to kind of pull everything together. But the real passion that I had in my life when I was young was horse riding. I was a real avid horse rider. And I only have one daughter, and she took the kind of horse bug as well. So at the age of 12, she'd one pony after another, and she became a very accomplished show jumping at the junior level. And we used to kind of trek around all the horse shows at the weekend when she was a teenager. And but then she came to Hawaii. She was born in Hawaii. I lived here way back in the 70s, and she was born here in 1980. And then my marriage didn't work. So she came back to Hawaii to see where she was born for 6 months in 2002 and never left. So that's her story, and that's why she's still here. And she married a local boy, and she has 2 kids here, obviously. But I haven't ridden a horse since I was probably 45, 46 years old. But it's still in my heart. It's my passion. I love horses. And one of my projects is I want to have and for the last 2 years, I've found natural horse trainers online, and I've been I've been looking at all the training, thinking, I wish I had known all that stuff when we had horses. It'd have been so much easier. And then I thought, it would be so nice to do as one of my projects, the ability to bring that to people, to have horses, let them come learn that skill. They don't have to pay for it, obviously. And I also want to include like young people who don't have much that would like to learn horsemanship. And I would also like to have, the blacksmith farriers to be able to train farriers, and vets who do equine vets. And I would love to have, the healing beds for horses and large animals at some point as well. So that's my real kind of passion project out of all the other projects that are not as passionable as that. So I can't wait to get back on the horse, Tracy. That's my QR passion. I want to get back on a horse.
I'm going to join you on that. I mean, I can ride a horse now, but I want to have my own horse, but I want to wait until I have a device. If that horse gets something wrong with it, or if I get hurt, that I have a way to heal instantly.
That's correct.
Then I'll get a horse.
That's correct. And at this stage, I really want to get back on a horse again, but that isn't necessarily my passion. I just love being around them and taking care of them. And when my daughter had her ponies, I just love that part of being, the assistant groom and all that part of it. So it's not just the riding that I love, it's actually everything to do with horses that I love. So that's my kind of passion that I want to resurrect without a shadow of a doubt. That's the one.
You'll be able to do that, my dear. I can't wait. And then will you come back and do another interview with me post QARC?
Yeah, hold me back.
That's awesome.
I'll be glad to.
Thank you, Elspeth. And so what would you like to say in closing, my dear?
I think anybody who's thinking about this and watching this, don't hesitate about it. There's just so much that it gives to you, and things that you can't even quantify that come out of the woodwork as part of it, things that you don't imagine is going to happen. I came for my heart to be healed, but goodness, I've got all this energy and clarity that I wasn't expecting or anticipating. And that's been one of the real good benefits of it. So, if you're kind of floundering around there like I was, if you can't get up off the floor and you would like to, maybe it'll do that in your body too. But I think if there's one thing I've learned, it treats us all differently, and it goes for whatever it is that we need doing. And I really can't recommend it enough. It's been really awesome for both John and I. And I hope when we get back to Scotland in January, John will do a session with you as well.
Awesome.
So you'll maybe get to talk to him as well. So
that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Well, my darling, beautiful girl, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. It was such a
joy
story.
Thank you. I really appreciated the time. Thank you for letting me tell my story.
Thank you. And I look forward to next time. So have a beautiful day.
You too. Thanks, Tracy. Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Thank you for making this QHS project fly. This valorous admin team, thank you. The Key community welcomes you. Thank you for making your home QHS healthy and happy. Thank you for helping us place QH centers all around the world. Together, hand in hand, we make miracles happen. QuantumHealingSystems.org. Thank you.